have our 60s night coming up. Make sure you come to those evening classes on Friday. They're going to be a lot of fun. We're going to celebrate the 60s. So for our focus, we are going to fight like one of the best boxers of the 1960s, certainly one of the most fearsome, intimidating men of all time. I'm talking about none other than Charles Sonny Liston. Now, he might have been the best boxer of the 1960s, maybe even one of the best all time, except for two major problems. Number one was the mafia. Number two, Muhammad Ali. Those are big problems to have. He was also a very enigmatic guy as well. In fact, no one knows exactly what year he was born or even what day he died. Now, he grew up with a lot of demons, for sure, in very rural poverty in Arkansas, working on a cotton plantation for his dad, who was extremely abusive to him, put him to work early, beat him, whipped him apparently every day. Terrible father. He moved away, ran away from home when he was a teenager to St. Louis, where he turned to a life of crime. He had big size. He was an intimidating guy, like I said, so he got into crime. He was in and out of jail. He was finally serving a longer sentence in a Missouri State Penitentiary, one of the worst pens in the country at that time, where the athletic director saw his incredible frame, his big, broad shoulders, and said, giant hands, giant fists, said, you should be a boxer, got him into boxing, and of course he dominated the prison circuit. In fact, they would even have him fight multiple guys in the ring, according to myth. Now, the athletic director and priest in that prison were able to get him released a little bit early on parole, where he became an amateur boxer. Now, unfortunately, at that time in the 50s, the mob still controlled very much of the sport. They controlled a lot of the sport. They managed a lot of fighters by proxy. They managed Sonny Liston as well. So he fought and fought in amateur. He never lost. He fought professional. He never lost. And eventually he got to the championship fight in 1962 against Floyd Patterson, and he absolutely destroyed Floyd. In 2 minutes into the first round, knocked him out. They fought again a year later. Same thing happened. 2 minutes in the first round, knocked him out. Just devastating heavyweight champion. Now, a year later, he got a big test, though, against this up-and-comer, this guy named Cassius Clay, who later changed his name to Muhammad Ali. In their first fight in 1964, Muhammad was just too fast for Sonny Liston. He couldn't hit him. Muhammad was moving. He was moving his feet. He was moving his head. He was untouchable back then. And what's often lost in this fight is that Sonny was probably at least 10 to 15 years older than Ali at the time. As I said, we don't know exactly when he was born. There isn't a birth certificate in rural Arkansas at that time, but he was definitely a lot older. Now, he did win some rounds, and by the end of the sixth, two of the judges apparently had it tied, but Sonny had to quit because apparently he had a dislocated shoulder. He came into it potentially with the injury, re-aggravated early in that fight. Then they would have a rematch 1 year later. This was a big deal. Hopefully Liston had trained better for this fight. He was going to try to take his revenge against Ali, except something crazy happened. In the first round, he got knocked down by what appeared to be a phantom punch at the time. Some people said that it wasn't a punch, it didn't even land. But it did land. It just didn't look like a very strong punch. And Liston went down, and he didn't get up. Now, I personally think the punch was real, even the knockdown might have been real, but he absolutely took a dive. There's lots of reasons why he might have done that. The big one is just the mafia, that it was a fixed fight. Now, do I believe it was fixed? Yes, but could Liston have won that fight if it wasn't fixed? I say no way. No one was going to beat a prime Ali at that point. There is no shame in losing to the absolute greatest. Now, after that, he continued to fight. In fact, he won his next 14 fights, 13 by knockout. So it was pretty good, but he never got another title shot. That potential fall, taking a dive, it stayed with his career. He wasn't going to get another shot. So it was a sad, unfortunate tale. And then he died in late 1970 of a drug overdose, and that kind of mysterious death there as well. So again, sad tale. There's lots of good stories in boxing, some sad, some happy. It's a sad one, but he certainly was a great fighter, and we're going to celebrate that, and we're going to fight like him. So here's how we're going to do it. Number one, the jab. Sonny Liston probably had one of the best jabs of all time, definitely for a heavyweight. He had a brutal jab. It was a bone-crushing jab. Now, he had giant hands, as I mentioned before, some of the biggest hands, and he had extremely long arms. We cannot make our arms any longer. We cannot make our hands any bigger. But what we can do when we throw that jab is we can really rotate and extend, making sure we're getting maximum range on our jabs and that we're rotating all the way through. We're bringing our shoulder behind our elbow. Lots of times I see jabs out here. The elbow maybe is even out here. Of course, I hate those. We want to make sure we rotate. We get all our bones stacked up into that jab. We can even step into that jab. Sometimes Liston would even lean into his jabs. We don't want to do that, but we will step in and really work on that power jab this week. Number 2, one of the most fearsome punchers of all time. He had power in both hands. Certainly his jab was powerful, but he would use it to set up powerful rights, powerful left. He liked body shots. He liked head shots. He liked it all. He was an absolute bully, a devastator. So we're going to be working on power punches all the way around. Of course, we can't be as big and strong as Sonny Liston, but it's all in that rotation. So of course, those good mechanics, rotating our hips, using our legs, using our own mass to get into those punches. Number 3 is kind of an interesting one. He would use his punches, even if they missed, to frame his opponent and continue to beat them. This is something, both the last 2 things are things George Foreman learned from Sonny Liston. He was an early training partner. So like for instance, you might throw a hook, and now normally we want to get our hand back nice and quick to our face. But in this case, he would leave his hand out there, frame, hold his opponent, and then continue to beat him with his other hand. So sometimes we'll be throwing punches and we'll leave our hand out there, holding our opponent in place, framing our opponent, maybe going to an elbow frame, and then beating them with the opposite hand. I got one more bonus one for you. I already touched on it earlier, and this might seem silly, but of course, Sonny Liston is known for being fearsome and intimidating. He was really the first heavyweight champion to be like that, to be scary, to win that game of intimidation. Just his stare, just the way he boxed, he looked angry. He probably was angry. So this week, I want you to try to work on being an intimidator yourself. And you might say, of course, that is not me. That's not my personality. No, it may not be. But when you get in the ring, boxers are very good at kind of creating these alter egos. So before class starts, I want you to look at your back. I want you to scowl a little bit. Look a little bit angry. When you're throwing those punches, I want you to think about something that makes you mad, and I want you to really unload on it. Imagine you're fighting through all those demons just like Sonny Liston did. That is how he did it. That is how we're going to do it. Come on.